I never believed in random encounters. All those stories about meeting an old friend or a stranger who changed your life seemed like mere fiction to me. But everything changed when I found myself in a small, forgotten town where a chance meeting truly gave me an opportunity I never expected. It all began one summer when I decided to escape the hustle and bustle of the big city. I needed a break, and one of the trips was supposed to be just that, a quiet, peaceful retreat with no distractions. The town I ended up in wasn't special in any way. A few streets, an old market, a couple of cafes, and maybe that was precisely what drew me in. I wasn't looking for adventure, I was looking for silence. On the very first day, I took a walk through the forest that began on the outskirts of the town. The leaves rustled underfoot, and the air was rich with the smell of pine. The path through the woods led to a small lake, which, according to local legends, was a place of tranquility and peace. I often stopped to enjoy the surroundings until I stumbled upon an old hut hidden among the trees. Its roof was covered in moss, and the walls were draped with vines. The windows were nearly empty, with only the black outlines of the wooden frames. It was strange, such a shabby hut in a place so peaceful. I was curious, so I approached. Passing through the neglected yard, I heard movement inside. Without thinking, I opened the door. The room was dark, but I could make out an old man sitting in a simple chair, lighting a candle. He looked up at me, and I felt something in the air shift, something almost magical. He didn't ask who I was, and I didn't feel the need to explain my presence. Strangely enough, there was something in his calmness that reminded me that sometimes it's enough just to be in the moment. With a gesture, he invited me to sit, and so began our wordless conversation. That day, I didn't learn anything special about him. I didn't ask why he lived in such a secluded place, nor did I inquire about his past. We simply sat together, and time seemed to slow down. When I decided to get up and leave, he silently handed me an old map, marked with a few locations to the west of the lake. The map had no labels, just lines and drawings that looked like directions for a search. I don't know why, but I felt an inner voice whisper, "Go." So I did. From that moment, the adventure began. I followed the map through thick forests, climbed rocky hills, and crossed rivers. Each step brought me closer to something great and unknown. And with each step, I felt my life beginning to change. I didn't know where the path was leading me, but I knew I was on the verge of something significant. After several days, I reached an old cave in the mountains, where, according to the legend, ancient artifacts were hidden. It turned out that the map led me to a forgotten temple, hidden from the world. Inside, I found items that could change so much: ancient books, records of lost civilizations, mysterious stones with unreadable inscriptions. This encounter with the old man became my chance. A chance not just for adventure, but for discovering myself. I found what I had long been searching for, my purpose, my roots. The items I uncovered became the foundation for my future career as an archaeologist. It all started with one random meeting, a person who simply allowed me to be a part of his world for a few hours. It proves that sometimes, even the smallest, seemingly insignificant events can change our lives forever. I had no idea that this journey would lead me to such a profound discovery. What began as a quiet retreat from the chaos of my everyday life turned into an adventure beyond my wildest dreams. As I ventured deeper into the mountains, my thoughts began to shift. The world I once knew seemed small in comparison to the vastness of what I was uncovering. The quiet whispers of the forest were no longer just sounds, they were the heartbeat of something ancient, something that had been waiting for someone to listen. The deeper I went, the more I realized that my search for something outside of myself had led me to a deeper understanding of who I was and what truly mattered. The ancient ruins I discovered weren't just relics of a forgotten time. They were a reflection of the past that was still alive in me. I wasn't just uncovering history, I was reconnecting with the part of me that longed for purpose and meaning. Eventually, I returned to the small town, the place where it all started. It had been weeks since I had wandered into that old hut, but the feeling of change lingered with me. I sought out the old man again, hoping to thank him for the path he had unknowingly set me on. When I found him, he was sitting in the same spot, surrounded by the same quiet peace. He didn't need to say anything, the look in his eyes told me that he knew. Somehow, he had always known that the journey wasn't about the destination, but about the transformation that took place along the way. The discovery of those ancient artifacts turned into more than just a scientific breakthrough. It became a story of self-discovery, of finding meaning in the things we least expect. That chance encounter had set in motion a series of events that reshaped my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. And in the end, I realized that the greatest treasure wasn't the knowledge I had uncovered, but the journey itself.